is Beatrice Perret Gentile, and I'm the author of Adapter, an unconventional career path to get women to the top. Well, I wrote this book because I found myself at a crossroads. As a woman in college, I felt the pressure to start a career, but I wasn't ready to give up the personal growth and curiosity I felt when I was exploring different cultures. I was shocked, of course. I've always wanted to write a book. I started writing like my first book, but it was a novel when I was like 13. But every time in my life I like bucket list write a book, it was gonna be a novel. I never thought I would become like an expert on a subject, like the whole purpose of this class. So that was the biggest shock. And from that and going into the process is the continuous like question of why, like, should people believe me? Why am I an expert on this? And from the like start, when it moved from me wanting to write a novel because that's something like science fiction, no one has to question that, to writing a book that's gonna give people advice, that has theories, that's using life lessons from other incredible women. It was nerve-wracking. Yeah, so I started writing a book about experiential travel, which means that you essentially travel, but to live and experience the full culture of where you are. Because I believe that if you wanted to stay in a like typical hotel and have your breakfast included, you might as well like stay in your country. But maybe that's really bad to say. But I was writing this book about traveling, and I found that I didn't have a thesis. So I felt very lost, and I already had these interviews that were great, like very encouraging. I'm upset I couldn't include them in this book because they were misleading, but I did feel a little behind because I was right after all like the process of contacting people. So contacting people takes hours and hours of your week. First researching who you want to talk to, making sure they're like useful for your topic, then writing the emails, following up because they won't answer at the first call. But it worked out. The biggest lesson for me is like tell as many people as you can, because as we know, networking is very important, and most of the interviews I got were thanks to like family, friends, and my mom, who was like, I would just tell her like, Mom, I need to talk to this type of woman, and she would come with like a list, like ask her. So it was during final season when I got to interview most people. So I think that was when like I was writing the final part of the book for the first submission, and that's why I wasn't like ready then. But I kept working on it during winter break, and my family like would leave the house, and I would just spend days and days updating it. And I didn't find out it was getting published until I was in Hong Kong. So that was very exciting to be able to call my parents and be like, yeah, it's getting published. Well, one that moved me the most is a friend who also attended Georgetown and was living in Latin America, because she's 3 years older than me. So I saw the immediate change or impact I could have in my life by taking this career from an early start. At first, she was a little anxious having to move from the States to Latin America because of visa issues. But when I asked her, like, would you do this again? She said, like, yeah, like, she didn't think it twice. Now she was confident that if she moved, it wasn't the end of the world. She could like start again and have amazing friends. So she was even excited to do it again. I want to hold the book. I want the physical copy. Like, I'm gonna make sure it reaches me here in Asia. It's just, I think seeing my name printed would be like, whoa, it's been less than a year. But I'll definitely be proud and nervous. I'm expecting like emails of people like, I don't know, being like, this is misleading or something. But every time there's a doubt, there's this thought like someone else like me is gonna have an international career, or it's gonna learn how to make the best of it or how to prepare for it. And it's knowing I can encourage someone to like have the same lifestyle that I want. Because something we learn in entrepreneurship, and you say this a lot, is like, if you have a new idea I've never heard about, like, I don't know, like, I'll pay you kind of thing, or I'll invest in it first. And it has to be the same with the books. Like, someone has had this issue, someone's felt in a crossroad and doesn't want to give up either. So knowing that I can find that that type of woman, that niche, and answer their questions with my months of work, it's very encouraging, and I can't wait to talk to them. Just being an English as a second language learner, it's improved my communication skills like impressively, because I've had to learn to communicate my ideas better, and both in writing and verbally, because when you interview people, when you're being interviewed, and when you're writing, it's you have I think my English has gotten better all over. But as an international student, it's at Georgetown, it's very encouraging to know that we all have these same opportunities, and that our voices are like as valued. And I'm just grateful that to have the opportunity to study in the United States and have access to all these entrepreneurial ideas, like writing a book in a class that I wouldn't get at home. And it's just very it's amazing and surreal.
Mm-hmm.
To I think when I tell people back home I wrote a book, I already have told some, but when I tell most I wrote a book, I don't think they could ever have the support I've had at Georgetown and with you. Yeah, reaching out to people to interview was kind of in the beginning, you send the emails, you're super encouraged, of course they're gonna want to talk to me, great. When they don't reply the first, the second, the third time, you're am I even gonna have material to talk about?
Yeah.
Or to write about, sorry. And I think that was the biggest point. In class, we distributed the work very well, organized. So there wasn't a moment where I felt I couldn't write this, wouldn't have the words. It was more about the content and making sure that for the reader, it was gonna be valuable. And yeah. I don't think I've ever done anything that empowers me and makes me so vulnerable at the same time. So this book is great for my career, for my personal growth, but at the same time having someone read my writing, it's very, very vulnerable, or it feels that way before you're handing it out. So I think my friends, I'm usually very open to strangers, because like I'm like, oh, you can't judge me yet. But my friends, people like I think are really smart and I've admired all my life. For example, Valentina Cano, she's been my partner in high school for like all our works, and I admire her brilliance. And I just hope like she likes it. Yeah. Well, it's like okay. It's a little embarrassing to admit, but because of this book, I decided I want to have a career. So, like, after my summer, or even before that, my first 2 years of college, I was thinking, like, it's not that bad if I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Like, maybe graduate, work for a couple of years, but then, like, I'll just be a mom. And by starting to write this book, I, of course, had to do a lot of research. And one of the first research material I stumbled upon was Sheryl Sandberg's TED Talk, Why There Are Too Few Women Leaders. And she says that women go into their jobs, like address their jobs, already like with self-limits, saying like, I'm gonna like quit in 3 years to have a child, so like I'm not gonna take more opportunities. I'll let like essentially like the man have like, if we have to compete for a position, like I'm not gonna do the best I can because I won't be here in 2 years, so that doesn't matter. And when I heard this, I like saw myself reflected on her examples, and I realized I was limiting myself before I even entered the workforce. And the biggest thing that changed for me writing this book was like knowing that I do want to have a professional career, and that I have the power to encourage more women. So just like Sheryl Sandberg did it by talking in her TED Talk, this book, I am confident, will tell more women that we all have to work and motivate each other to do so. They were very encouraging. Of course, my friends and family were very excited for me. They sent they were extremely happy for me. They didn't want to get too involved in, like, I asked them about design, what did they like, what didn't they like, and they were just like, the reader, and you wrote this in part for yourself, so they were just very happy for me, and they're doing the countdown with me, so I guess it's real for us and for them. This book doesn't have, what can I say? So this book doesn't have, technical skills. So in that sense, I won't get a job about this book.
Sure.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have technical skills. So, sometimes when I use this book to approach women, I feel that, I can't approach it from that side. The side I can approach it is from the leadership, the gender movement that we are seeing around the world. So I do think this book can land me my dream job, because it's opened already conversations for me with people that I never thought I'd be talking to. I've had the honor, and it's most of our classmates, I guess, have had a very different experience, because my subject is not, like I said, technical, but it's about a lifestyle, and I still equally as important as the rest. Well, I wrote this book thinking about people. I wrote this book thinking about those people that have open minds and try to be inclusive and listen to other people's stories. For me, it's been important, especially living in the United States, to have people try to listen to me to understand where I'm coming from. And when I've traveled, I've done the same, and I am a firm believer that that's what's going to make a more inclusive world. And when I was writing this book with the purpose of living in different countries around the world, that's the main thing I had on my mind, because it'll make it easier for me, but it also make it more enjoyable for the world. It's nerve-wracking. Every time I get on a plane for a new country, I question, is it that bad if I just stay here? Does anyone need to know? It happened to me coming to Hong Kong. I was in LA, and I was like, what if I stay in LA this semester? No one will know. So I think that's, knowing that there will always be, doubt in yourself, but you have to stick to the drive and the, rush that you, imagining yourself in the position, meeting people from around the world, and knowing that professionally what you'll learn, it's going to be exponential, because you'll be acquiring skills like you would in your country, but you're also going to be learning about a new work culture, which is important in a globalized world. You will also be learning about different lifestyles and ways people approach life, so that'll make you more open-minded and a better listener, which is important when you deal with clients. And again, you will learn about a different workforce, but you'll also learn about different clients, which is more important than you're learning how your office works. Adapter, an unconventional career path to get women to the top, is the college woman's journey to having an international career, to become a leader, and to challenge gender stereotypes around the world. My name is Beatrice, and the 3 main points of my book are: first, there's an unexplored leadership opportunity for women in the corporate world. Second, it's possible to prepare for an international career. And third, you can succeed having an international career with some of the things I talk about in my book, like meeting locals and befriending them. You should read my book, because the world is becoming more globalized, and eventually, even if it's moving within your same country, you're probably going to move offices and encounter situations where you feel a little uncomfortable. And like the title suggests, we all will need to adapt. Especially, my book is directed to women, because men are the ones who are having more missions abroad today, and women are a little unsure about doing it because of their families, and will the husband come along? It's there have been situations where marriages end because the couple couldn't survive the mission abroad, but we're all, like I said, going towards it. So reading this book, I think it's a sneak peek into what the future holds and how to make the best of it and learn to adapt. It's funny. It's surreal.